So namaste. Welcome to Satsang. And Satsang is the most important thing we can be doing, absolutely, with our time. Our spiritual work may seem second choice when there's something else we'd rather want when we want to do. And it's always good to bring into context what we're doing here, or not doing, what we're seeing here. And that is the most important human endeavor of all. Even if we were to be able to go to distant planets and experience the wonders of this world and beyond, it still wouldn't pale in comparison to the freedom, the joy, and the deep, deep contentment of realizing who we really are. So anything else that we achieve or attain in the human kingdom is temporary. This is permanent. You do this work once and it's finished forever. So it's well worth being here like this, really focused on what's the most important. So as soon as this is the last satsang for a while, I wanted to leave plenty of time for questions. So I've got 2 questions here sent in that I'll read first and answer. And if you have a question or something you want help with or would like to share your challenges or your breakthroughs, I invite you to raise your hand on Zoom here, and we'll get through as many as we can. So the first question here is, dear Helen, you're helping me peel off my onion layers of beliefs into this quite immense space. Contemplating, I enter into this emptiness for quite some time. Without you, I would not be able to face these fears of new layers popping out, and now enjoy this mystery evermore. Addiction is a very sticky, strong layer that comes up for me now, and in knowing there's a temporary nice feel in indulging it. I stopped resisting it. I stopped resisting it. I am inquiring into feeling chained to this desire. Please guide as to how this desire leads me to truth. Love you. Well, love you too, and thank you for your kind words. You would have found your way. Without any teacher, you'll still find your way, but hopefully we can shortcut that process and make it less painful together. So for me, addiction and desire were some of the biggest teachers I ever had. Very, very close, or never officially an alcoholic, but many, many years depending on alcohol to numb the pain. And I feel like I was addicted, and addicted to many other things as well. Sugar, spending money, all kinds of, even sexual desire. It was just, desire was the biggest teacher. And when I really looked into this myself, why am I addicted to these things? What is it they seem to give me that I don't feel I've got without indulging in this thing, whatever it is? It was really a couple of things. It was an absence of suffering. So if I indulge in something for a short time, I'm not suffering. So alcohol or whatever it is we're indulging in, it lifts us up temporarily or blocks out temporarily the sense of a separate being in its density, at least. And so it's an escape from suffering. But when I looked at that, it wasn't even really true, because it brought its own suffering. Furthering any addiction brought its own suffering, and even guilt and shame and everything that comes from still doing what I didn't think I was supposed to be doing. And the second thing was a feeling, a buzz, an upliftment, a lighter feeling for a while. And when I looked at that, even that wasn't true. Again, if we just take alcohol as one example, did it with shopping, with sugar, all kinds of things, addicted to going to the gym, had to go to the gym at one point in my life, or I was really struggling. And of course, I'm all for exercise, but when you have to do something just to get through the day, then there's something needs looking at there. So these things didn't even give me the buzz like I thought they did eventually, because you have to do more and more and more of them to get the same result. And eventually you have to do more and more of them just to feel okay. So you go to the gym and get a little high. And then if you're addicted to that, you've got to go further, run faster, run harder, work out more to get the same buzz. So for me, looking at, you've asked why you keep, why it's got such a pull there. For me, that was because these two lies were being believed. The first, it's going to stop me suffering for a while. Secondly, it's going to give me a little lift. Maybe they're the same thing, but I actually looked at those. Even while I was indulging in them, whatever they were at the time, there was already this mind noise going on. So it wasn't even doing what it was supposed to. So when I looked at the root behind it all, there was this desire to escape suffering. That was what was underneath all of it. When I looked at my desire for awakening, it was the same thing, desire to stop suffering. I didn't even know about joy and peace and all that stuff at the time when I first really started trying to pursue this. It was just really aimed at stopping suffering. I just have to get out of the stuff that's going on in here. So if every addiction, even addiction to kind of spiritual seeking, is about ending suffering, escaping pain, then is there an easier way to do it? So I was looking for the least harmful way. And for a while, I was very addicted to meditation, which was healthier and cheaper than other addictions, let's just say. But still, nonetheless, I needed it to get through the day. And it was all based around this sense that there's something I can do to feel better. And really, when I looked at what the root problem was, it was that idea that there's something I can do to feel better, is in denial of the fact that right now, if I just stop disturbing myself with my thoughts, then I feel better anyway. So desire to me is always about feeling better. Doesn't matter what we want. We could want a new car, a better job, to find the love of our life, to wake up to the truth, to go see the world. Whatever it is, that desire, it's always because we think it's going to make us feel better when we get it. If I get that better job, I'll feel safer because I'll have more abundance, etc. I'll be more challenged rather than doing the same old stuff every day. I'll have more purpose, more joy. So looking at why do I want this was really key for me. I want to indulge in this addiction. Okay, why? And of course, if you have a serious addiction, get the help that you need. And there are so many wonderful 12-step programs out there now to help with this. But for me also, I had to really look at the desire, like why am I doing this? What do I actually want? Do I really want to do this thing, or do I want the way it's going to make me feel? I think it's going to make me feel, at least. Even meditation, even awakening, it was all the spiritual seeking was going on to try to feel better, all based on the assumption that I don't feel how I want to feel right now. If all desire is ultimately to feel better than I do right now, and you can find this out if you ask yourself why you want what you want, then and keep tracking that. Why do I want that? Why do I want a new job? Because I'll have more money. Why do I want more money? Because then I won't be worrying so much. Why don't I want to worry so much? Because then I'll feel better. You can track it right back. It will take it always back to the same core. Why do I want to transcend my mind? Because then I'll feel better. So desire was this, it came down to all these desires, but they had this one common root. So for me, getting out of the addiction was really looking at, can I feel that way now? Why don't I think I can feel that way that I want to feel now? And then these addictive behaviors just began to drop away on their own time, of course. And when you begin to feel good enough anyway, peaceful, calm, happy, stable, when you figure out how to worry, then there's no pull there or urge to kind of do anything to make yourself feel better, because you know, firstly, it's only temporary. You're going to have to experience the other side of that dualistic coin. If I do something to feel better, I'm going to come back down again. In awakening, that peace is stable and continuous and effortless eventually. So looking at what you want from the behaviors that are going on and why you want it. And is there a cheaper, better, easier, safer way to get that? And then as you do that, you'll be able to realize it all hangs on this idea that you don't feel good right now. What's the cause of how we feel right now, the suffering? The idea that we're someone. The idea that I am this body and mind only. It so terrifies us, and yet we're so good at avoiding it through the behaviors that we do. If we deal with the root cause of all suffering, then this need to feel better is going to drop away quite naturally by itself over time. So I hope that that helps. You wouldn't be asking such a question if you weren't already starting to come out of it anyway, but I hope that gives you some direction. Okay, so I'll just read this one and then I'll come to you, Fatima, in a minute. Dear Helen, I thank you so much for answering my question about abundance. I just needed to hear you say what I already knew. You suggested to me to focus on who and what I am for a month instead of the abundance. Still, I have a question about using money and shopping for food and whatever we need in our everyday life. Not long ago, I always experienced discomfort in my stomach and fear when I used money. Now I feel more abundant inside of me, but my situation is more insecure because my husband has moved out and he was the one earning the most of our money. I do not have a full-time job and it's difficult for me to work full-time. Still, right now I feel calm when I shop and I use more money than I'm used to. And then a fear comes that suddenly I'll regret that I was not more careful with spending money. I fear that I will have to leave my house and mine and my children's home because I cannot pay the rent. It's quite surprising that we've been able to stay in our house at the same time shop without saving. It feels good, and it feels like I feel more free inside of me after my husband left, just because some patterns between us that aren't here anymore. My question is, if I need to worry or to save money when I do my shopping, it's like I can't get an overview of the future in my head. I don't know from month to month how to live. I don't have the ability to take responsibility for an unknown future. The calm feels nice, but I can't trust it. I feel like I do not trust myself or life or whatever it is. Maybe something inside of me feels like I'm not good enough. I have the thought that the friends around me are better than me to manage their money. At the same time, it contracts in me if a friend suggests that I save money for the future. So namaste and much love. I think your English is really good, by the way. Very good. You don't need to apologize for it here. So to me, this isn't really about saving or spending or money. It's about the sense that you're making these decisions as a separate being. So somebody suggests that you start saving money, there's this contraction because there's this fear then that you might do it wrong. Can you see, if you read back what I've just read out, it's all asking underneath that is, what should I do? Can you see that? Should I save? Or should I just continue to spend as I am? Should I work towards a future? Or what should I do? I can't take responsibility for a future. It doesn't seem like I can. So here is a subtle way that the sense of being a someone is hanging on here. So if you realize that you're not doing anything, you're watching, and you're watching the body and mind do these things, and this idea that you can choose what to do as a separate being, at least, is what's causing the fear, because of this insecurity, not trusting yourself, as you said here. This is what it's really about. If I have to save or budget or spend or pay off debts or any of that stuff as a separate being, I feel like I might screw that up. I might get it wrong. I might overspend now, not have enough in the future. So as far as the self and abundance, it's good that you've got more there. Your future, your financial situation is more insecure than it's ever been, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. When we think we know where our money is coming from in a job and this and this and this, then it's locked into our pattern. But once we don't really know, that pattern is shaken up, it can come in from a lot of different places. So insecurity, uncertainty might be a better word, not being totally sure about what that is, and how it's coming in. For me, that's where the real abundance began to express itself. So I would take a look at whether you're doing things in the way that you think anyway. Can you even make these decisions that you're not trusting yourself to make? Is this even about finances and money? I don't think so. My experience has been that, yes, there's more than enough money each month now. There used to be more than enough month than money. I'm sure we've all experienced that, and then it flipped over. But still there is this, the self, it doesn't waste anything. When it manifests something, it uses just the right amount of energy to manifest something. Not because it's short of energy, it's infinite. When it creates a form, moves into form, it doesn't waste anything in that process. It uses only what it needs. And you look at animals, they are the same way. They eat only what they need. They don't really know how to overeat and overindulge in things like we do. And even if they're not sure where their next meal is coming from, they don't overeat that time. And there's a frugality in the way that the self moves into creation, into form. There's a sense that we don't have to actually spend more than we need. The self is going to, it's not going to deny itself joy, but this habit of overspending and things like that will, and worrying about it will fall away too. There isn't really any need to spend more than we need if we know we have infinite supply. And there isn't, it isn't also an excuse not to save for the future. So you find the self probably wants to do both of those. It probably wants to, if those thoughts are going around, it's always good to have some kind of backup plan, isn't it? So recognizing that what actions you take financially are going to come from your level of consciousness, not from your mind, because it's not really in charge in the way that we think. Thoughts are coming from the self. And those thoughts are going to be higher and better quality as you begin to recognize that even here, you're not the separate being. And this fear, this tension will go then, because this is about what do I do? And I want to make sure I do the right thing because I don't trust myself. That would be where I put my attention now if I was in your position right now, looking at why you don't feel you can trust yourself. It's got to be some remnant of our old separation thinking, hasn't it? Okay, so let's go to Fatima when you're ready. Can you hear us, Fatima? Okay, maybe she's not there at the moment.
Hi, Helen.
Hi.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Hi. I'm a bit nervous to ask a question, to raise my hand actually, but I'm very happy to talk to you.
Well, I'm glad you did. It's not easy, is it? But
yeah. I would really like to talk to you about, I've been working with a lot of repressed emotions and for the last year and a half or so. And ever since I found your teachings, which are very direct and very simple and clear, seeing is deepening every day. And I would, I feel like I've been working through very, very, very intense material, and what's coming up in the last few days is as seeing is really deepening, and I feel my identity slowly shifting over. I'm encountering such deep fear of not being, of going insane, of falling into the abyss. Of I've worked with fear a lot before, but it feels very, very paralyzing, and I I there's questions that I've been doing self-inquiry, and I'm just writing it out and sitting with it. But I think what I would like to talk to you about or ask you is maybe a little bit of encouragement of what it's like staring into the abyss and not knowing what's on the other side, and it feels very intense. And I think I would just like a word of encouragement to keep going in this moment. This is the first time in all this time that I really feel like I don't want to go on anymore, and I don't want to continue seeing anymore. And I know that these are just thoughts, but it feels absolutely terrifying and exhausting. And I would really just like a word of encouragement, if that's all right.
Yeah. Well, let me say it's very normal. It's very, I mean, it's horrible to experience, but it's also very normal, isn't it? So can you tell me what you mean by the abyss? Let's just start with that, if you don't mind. Just, you said staring into the abyss and going insane. So could you give me a little more on that? Can you still hear me? Well, hopefully you can hear me, so I'll just...
Hi, yes. Oh, Helen, there it shows me that there's no option to unmute myself, or maybe for the next person, it seems that the host doesn't allow the participants to unmute themselves. So, but all good now. I'm sorry, what was your question?
Yep, no worries. Could you tell me a bit more what you mean about the abyss?
Yeah. Like I'm feeling like all the reference points are slipping, or are falling away. I feel like I'm floating into a sea, and I have no idea what. I just feel like I'm losing things. It's very raw. I don't. It doesn't come with thoughts. It's just this really deep feeling of falling, and not. If I don't think, I will not be, and this really deep despair as well, of not knowing where I am. I know that I recognize these things as so it's I'm all right. It goes I see that there are thoughts, but then it's, I don't know, there's just still so much resistance to really letting go, and not knowing what will be when I don't know. It's not even necessarily a feeling thing, because a lot of things come up, and then it's more of, yeah, not having any reference point, and I'm feeling a lot of resistance. I don't want to do this anymore. I've been doing this for such a long time, and now I just want to go back, and I want to be human, and I want to know who I am. And this has not happened in the process before, and it's really happening as the seeing is deepening, and it's absolutely terrifying. I don't know what life would be after, like.
Can you see that can you see that in this story, in this fear that's coming up, is an idea that something's about to change for you if you go any further? Can you see that kind of going into this abyss? And that fear is based on the idea that you're the one who's got to let go and go into it.
Yeah.
What if you are the abyss already, and you're just coming to realize that? What if you've never had any reference points? And all that's happening now is you're seeing that clearer. What if you are the unknown and you always have been? Does that change? What if you can't let go because you don't have to? This took me so long to figure this out. I beat myself up so much trying to find the courage to let go into this great unknown, to jump off this metaphorical cliff, you know, into the self. And with no way to know what it was like afterwards, right? Ahead of time. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and it's not true. We're not actually jumping into anything. We are the place we're trying to get to already. So I would really look at, I mean, firstly, pretty much everyone comes up against this at some point.
Yeah.
And it's true from the mind's perspective. From the mind thinks you are the thinker. So it thinks you've got to let go of thoughts and move into the unknown. And that's why it's bringing this story up now. But if you are already the abyss, that's what you are. You've never had any reference point. This is a false fear. And nothing is actually going to happen. You're just going to actually see, oh, this is where I've always been. This is what I've always been. For me, it was the biggest non-event of my life. It was a total non-event. Like all this, trying to get this courage to finally make this big let go and do it. It was impossible. I kept failing because I'm already free. You're already free. This problem that you've taken on to try to do is not yours. It belongs to the mind.
So I recognize that it's just one of the things that are coming up as I'm, I don't know if it's deliberate, but or intentional, because I do feel your teachings are very direct and keep pointing to the same thing, to what, but I feel like there's, I don't know, like the dark night of the soul or whatever, like this period of like just deep processing and that's happening. I do have to say that there's gradually every day less suffering, like compared to a year and a half ago. There was definitely a lot of suffering as I was working through these emotions, and I was just, and I have to say that every day it's less of suffering. And I ask myself as well, like, what am I rejecting right now, or what is being rejected in this experience right now, or who's the one that's suffering? And so I recognize that this is also just one of the stories that comes up, and things seem to move rather, they just seem to move, and I'm not, I guess, yeah, I feel the contractions in my body as I'm wondering, like, how long will this still last? I see that that's also just a thought. I guess I'm just exhausted and
But should we
wondering.
do some self-inquiry together? See if we can actually find this person that's got to jump into the abyss.
I would really love that. Yes.
Yeah. So let's just, because only actually looking and not finding anyone that has to surrender anything even and let go of any reference points, right? Actually experiencing that's going to undo this capacity to believe this. And you're gradually undoing that, but we don't want to wait as long as that takes. That could be,
Yes.
So right now, when you look for yourself, when you try to find yourself, what do you find?
I'm so sorry. I'm a bit distracted with a quick question that I wanted to ask before we would do the self-inquiry. And I'm sorry. And that's also one thing that's also coming up, is that it feels absolutely endless. The material that's still, the egoic material that still has to be disentangled and worked through.
This is a defense
Yeah.
mechanism here coming up. Let's put that question to the side.
Okay.
And we can ask it at the end. Let's do the inquiry first, okay?
Yes.
Because if this problem isn't yours, none of them are.
Yes.
Right? So we need to prove that this one isn't yours, and then all of them fall away. So
yes,
let's have a look and see, what do you find when you look for yourself? What can you find? Can you find a person that has to let go?
I've sat with this question a lot, and when I'm not talking, when I'm quiet, I see myself as the space, that the container that this is happening into.
Let's look right now together, right now
Right
here.
now.
Can you find Fatima as a person, as a separate being, as a seeker?
Right now I'm sensing a nervous knot in my stomach and someone that's talking to Helen.
Where is this someone that's talking to Helen? Can you find her? Really, if you really, really look, feels like she's here, but where exactly is she?
Within me.
Within you. Who's you then?
It's
The
very hard to, yeah.
person is inside you. Who's you? Aren't you bigger than a person at least?
Yes.
So what are you then?
I don't know. This.
Have a look and see. Tell me what you can about you.
Yeah.
Do you have a size and a shape?
No.
Are you a something or something different? Take your time.
No. Yeah. No, I'm not a something. I'm sitting on my couch and I'm hearing these words being spoken and I'm seeing the flowers in front of me.
And where are you? Are you inside the body, outside the body, or you really can't say? Or both?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I feel like I'm the space, and I truly do feel like I'm looking at these flowers right now, and I feel like I'm holding them. They are. I don't know how to word it. And it also, that feeling, or that it goes away as I'm speaking. When I'm not speaking, I see that I'm the space in between things.
Are you speaking? Are you speaking?
I'm watching something speak.
There you go. You see, that's different, isn't it? Different.
Yeah.
So you that's watching, do you reach as far as the flowers? Or do you
Does it
stop?
make sense? No.
Are the flowers inside you or outside of you? How does that?
Inside. Inside.
What
Yeah.
about the house that you're sitting in?
Inside.
Inside. What about the
Yeah.
town that your body lives in? Inside you or outside?
So this is one where I feel myself getting into mental gymnastics when I think
Let's
further,
just look then. This that's watching.
Yeah. It goes as far as I can see. And when I think of my town, it's a mental thing. And then that mental thing is happening inside of me as well.
It goes as far as you can see, but can
Yes.
you see yourself with your eyes, physical eyes?
No.
Physical or
No.
invisible?
This is also something that I'm finding coming up in my self-inquiry a lot as well. Like,
Let's stick to now.
yes.
Stick to right
Yes.
now. Yeah. I'm trying to cut you off, but for a good reason, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
let's stick to now. Right now, are you something, or are you a someone, or are you space-like emptiness?
No, I'm space-like.
And you that's space-like, what karmic patterns do you have to let go of?
I'm just watching. I see that as well. I'm just watching. I have no karmic patterns. I'm just watching Fatima's body, feeling these energies.
Where are these karmic patterns and who do they belong to?
I don't know. They're just happening.
Do they affect you?
No.
Have they ever affected you?
No. It sure feels like they do.
It does. But that's a feeling.
Yes.
Happening inside the body. Is it
Yes.
happening to you?
Yes. No, it's not.
Have you just suddenly become this space thing because we're looking, or have you always been this?
I want to say I have always been this, but this still somehow it's yes.
It's okay if there's a little doubt
I'm
there.
getting mental. Yeah,
Some
yeah. I
questions
know
you
it's
can go, oh,
yeah.
absolutely, I can see, I know
Yes.
that. Others, there's a
Yeah.
little doubt, you know, when I'm asking, it's okay.
Yes.
So do you have to jump into an abyss?
No. And when I feel this, when I sit with this, I was on my bathroom floor earlier today. I can. It's as if I'm not falling in. It's really these energies coming up, and as they come up stronger, it's I don't know. It's this
Does
really
this,
strong resistance.
the
Yeah.
resistance, the energies, do they affect you? They affect the body.
No, no, and no, and when I feel that, I feel immediate changes in my body as well. Like I'll start sweating, or like as it happens more easily, or I'm not doing anything.
Hmm.
I see that it's.
What
I'm
problems
still
do
so
you
scared,
have?
of what it's like when I'm not a person.
Are you scared? The space, are you scared?
It's so simple, right? You keep directing me back to the same thing over and over, and it's. May I ask you?
Let's
Does it
stay with
take?
this
Yes.
is really important, okay? Because
Yes.
if I let you go
Yeah.
off on a tangent now, you're going to go right back to where you were when you first asked me, and I don't want that. I don't want you to live with this anymore. So
Thank you.
what work do you have to do now then, if anything?
Absolutely nothing.
Do you have
Absolutely
emotions
nothing.
to release?
No.
And do you have any reference points to even let go of here?
I'm on a spiritual journey, and I'm on a purification journey that's still so strong, and it's still this human being that's purifying it, working through these intense energies, and it is shifting over,
Those
but it's
are they
yeah,
affecting you? Are stories affecting you? These are two big stories, right? I'm
yeah,
almost there. I'm getting somewhere.
yeah,
These are the big stories that we all hold on to. But is
yeah.
it true for you?
No,
How about now? Is it true for you now?
no,
How about now?
no,
How about now?
no.
If I asked you 5 minutes from now, what would you say? Is it true for you?
Mentally, I would have said no, but it would have definitely felt like it.
Right now, experientially, are you on a journey?
No,
Have you ever been?
no.
Look how certain you are about that. That's pretty amazing. Have you ever been on a journey then?
No. It makes me
What?
laugh.
Yeah, good. Enjoy it, right? That
Yeah,
feels good. Oh
yeah,
my God, I've never been on a journey.
yes,
Some things on a journey, the mind and body are kind of evolving, becoming ever clearer, and that's okay. As long as you know it's
yeah.
not you, you're watching that.
It truly makes all other questions drop away. Like,
That's why I wanted to sneak around through this first.
yes,
I don't want to work that hard, 50
yes.
questions. So let's just go with this one.
The lazy approach to awakening.
But
Yeah.
also the best, right?
Yes.
So for
Yeah.
me, I had to bring everything back and compare it against the direct experience of myself.
Yeah.
Do I have to let go? Well, no. That's a story. Am I going to go insane? Well, am I sane or insane as the space? It's
Yes.
irrelevant, right? Am I going
May-
to, you know,
Yeah.
lose the plot and just sit in the corner and dribble? Well, no, because I've always been this, so nothing's going to really change. That was the big shocker for me. Nothing's going to actually change. My life will continue as a human being. I'll just feel a lot calmer inside, have a lot more fun and peace.
Gosh, it feels so visceral. It feels as I'm letting. I'm right now in this last week. I'm really facing like deep feelings of being unworthy of merging with the one, or being the like all these things I'm watching play out, and it's
And you can never solve that because you're already the one.
yes, I'm exhausted, and
So if
yeah.
I was sat in that room with you, right? Would there be any
Yeah.
where would you stop and I start? the space ever end, the space like nothingness that we are.
Yeah. It's very quiet.
How many beings would there
yeah.
be in that room? 2 bodies, but how many beings in that room?
Just a space watching it, just a space containing it, or
and 2 bodies talking, right?
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
doing anything.
It's and still there, as we're talking right now, I have this nagging, and I see that it's just a thought, but like there's still so much work to do, so much to clear out before you can see so much.
So you just see this
I
again.
see
You just
that.
look again.
And as we're talking,
you just look again. Every time you look and don't find as someone, you're let's say this is 100%. I believe the mind when it says these things. This is 0%, right?
Yeah.
Every time you look and confirm, I cannot find Fatima as a person, someone on a journey. This is going down. Eventually, you just get to the point you cannot listen to the mind. Mind is inside you, right? Mind is floating around inside you, inside the space.
Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you so much.
So if you can see that doing this, checking this out experientially wipes away every single problem we could ever have, not from an avoidance, it's just they're all seen to be stories, then this is the most important thing to spend your time doing, isn't it? This, as often as you can. I mean, when I was really done with suffering, I was checking this out 100 times a day, in 5 minutes as I was walking around the supermarket. Can I find anyone walking around the supermarket? No. Who's doing the shopping then? I don't know.
Yes. I really do feel like there's more and more energy, or each day, I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but to see what is a thought and to lovingly discern that. Maybe I'm so sorry. I don't want to take up too much time. I don't know how many hands are up. I don't see any, so I hope
it's okay. This is really important. This is helping everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I've had so many questions over the last few months. They were always answered in the next satsang, and I was always too scared to ask something. But as I have your attention, I also, after what we, let me fit into that. It also doesn't really matter, but there's been this frozen, really heavy energy in my heart area, and all my centers really, but my heart.
Everything that's going on in the body is taking its cue from what we think is happening to us. So if I think I've got to do this awakening journey, the body's going to have to suffer that thought. So as I start to see, I'm already free, the body feels freer, it feels lighter and lighter. And this is the real shortcut here, isn't it? There isn't a single problem my mind could give me now that applies to me.
That's so good to hear. That's so good to feel. That's so, yes. It's, I feel, the energies that have been coming up in the last few weeks, due to life circumstances, like I've been very open to whatever life's been giving me, but it's moving. I didn't think it was possible for a body to hold, as seeing deepens every day, it does move more effortlessly.
Hanging out here where there is nobody doing anything, everything's just getting done.
Yes.
Experiencing, most importantly, experiencing, not just remembering what we did, checking it out, not finding anyone, again and again and again and again, and it's changing you each time. It's changing, it's overwriting your ability to suffer every single time you do this. So it's the most important thing, as important as oxygen, right? This so
it's all the rest is too painful. It's just too painful to feel like I'm healing, or to do
life has to back us into a corner so that our only way forward is as the self, as the infinite self. So now that we've got that, this is the most important thing, that this kind of intensity can ease off a bit, because we're going to stay here voluntarily now, right? I want to see this. I want to see it again and again until it's just so obvious and so clear. And that's all the sages have done. They've looked at this again and again and again until it's just obvious. And like, of course, it's,
Mm. Thank you
Wonderful.
so much, Helen.
Well
Thank you
done.
so much. Very much
Well done,
appreciated.
well done. Thank you. So, seeing as there are no more questions, let's just take 10 or 15 minutes to just sit and meditate together. A nice way to finish this satsang. And let's just begin by taking a breath or two, consciously just taking a deep breath. And making sure your belly moves as well as your chest. Or if you're a belly breather, make sure your chest moves. Make sure they both move together, because it's one of the ways we hold fear in the body without realizing it. So just start by taking a few nice deep breaths. It's such a wonderfully life-affirming thing to do, just to take a breath. And we're just going to spend 10 or 15 minutes just being that space, that consciousness, that awareness, that emptiness in which everything that's moving is moving, everything that's changing, coming and going. So there's no goal here, no way, there's no plan for the meditation. We're just being here, letting thoughts come and go, attention wander around if it wanders, letting energy move, sounds in our environment, not trying to change anything in our experience. We're just literally being with our experience, sitting with our experience. You get lost at any point, confused, just come back to just being with whatever is happening right now for you. in a moment, we'll bring this meditation to a close. So if you want to, you can open your eyes, have a stretch, move around. If you don't want to, that's okay also. Thank you for the beautiful silence. Thank you. Namaste.